We will get started. So welcome firstly to the Helix webinar series. This session is Ask the Experts. We're going to be concentrating on business workflows today. A little bit about these type of sessions for those that have never joined. These sessions are very much interactive. So we don't come prepared specifically with content. It's your opportunity to ask our BMC experts questions around just challenges or questions around features, functionality. Maybe there are some challenges that you need some help with. But the main thing is the questions will come from you. We do have some areas that we want to sort of share with you, maybe some stuff we've already produced that we'll talk through, but please use the Q&A section of Zoom, which you should find at the bottom. If you want to put your questions in there, we will come through those and try to do them in the order that they arrive. You also have the ability to raise your hand if you've got any questions that you want to ask the team. So I'm now going to get started just quickly with the introduction. So firstly, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a program manager at BMC. My main role is to bring webinars, how-to videos and content out to our customers and partners. So I work very closely with the business units of BMC to get some of this content. You might recognize a few faces on the panel today. So a lot of the webinars I do around roadmap sessions with our product managers and also technical content as well, where it may help you fix some issues. So that's a little bit about me. I'm now going to pass over to my co-host Laura to introduce herself.
Yeah, hi, Sam, thanks. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining our session today. My name is Laura Lopez. I am part of the Helix platform and business workflow support team.
Thank you. And then over to Kapil.
Hey, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Kapil Dingore. I'm the product manager for Helix Business Workflows. I'm based in Pune, India. Thanks.
Thank you, Kapil. Ashok.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening. I am Ashok Jha, product development architect for business workflows, workplace service management, and security incident handling. I'm also based out of Pune, India. Thank you.
Thank you. Harshada.
I'm Harshada. I'm part of BWF R&D team. I'm also based in Pune.
Thank you. So it's late for the guys in Pune today. Tajvini.
Hey, hi all. I'm Tejaswini Naik. I am also working for BWF R&D and based in Pune.
Wonderful, thank you. And I know we do have Jeff in the background as one of our attendees. So Jeff, feel free to chime in as well. I know you help support this team a lot. So welcome everyone. So just again, a reminder, you've got the Q&A section of Zoom if you want to put your questions in. We will get things started, but do have a think about some stuff that might be helpful. I would love to see customers and partners collaborate. So if there is anything that you want to share that might be useful as a customer, if you hear from someone else with a challenge, I would more than welcome it. Feel free to bring yourself off mute. So just to get us started, Laura, you've been working with me now for a couple of months, just creating content. A lot of this comes from problem management and cases that you see coming through support. Do you want to just get us started and talk a little bit about some of the content you've created, and then we can share some of those links after the event today?
Yeah, sure. So I've been working on creating quite a few content on two specific topics. One would be approvals, and the other one would be the email creation and configuration. So yeah, for approvals, we did a webinar recently. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. We did that based on the approval configuration. We went through all the steps, right? We demoed each one of them. So I think it was a good session. And we have created some videos around it also. So if you are new to business workflows or maybe are going to start working with approvals, I think that's a good start. And we have also done some other content, some videos on the email configuration as well, how to configure the mailboxes, how to configure the email configuration in business workflows. These two allowed to create cases through email even approved by email also. So yeah, that's basically what we've been working in the past few months on regards of new content for business workflows.
And I guess all the content is shared on our YouTube channel. So again, I'll share that
Yeah,
with
yeah,
everyone.
you can find it in there. We can share those links
What-
for sure.
And what we try to do, this is to our customers, is we create knowledge articles, which is what Laura and her team will be doing. And in them is embedded videos. So those are the videos you'll find on YouTube. And then any webinars that we run with any of the product teams or support, they're also put onto YouTube and referenced on the webinar page of communities and also BMC's webinar overall page. So we're trying to make sure that we put this content out everywhere and they're referenceable for you to go and find that. On that note, I'd be really interested to hear from our customers if there's anything specifically around some of what Laura's just mentioned, her content she's created. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question regarding, I think you were touching upon the email configuration. Is there anything special when working with like Outlook 365 and trying to configure the inbound emailer? I'm currently going through those steps and I'm hitting a few roadblocks, and I'm not sure if it's internal configuration within my company or something I'm doing incorrectly.
I don't think so. I don't think there's like a specific configuration for Outlook. I'm not sure if the rest of the team is aware of any specific.
Yeah, I don't think there is any specific configuration for Outlook. But yeah, overall, I think when you are configuring this one, right, email, I think you should take care of some blocked list, trusted domain, exclusion subjects. I think those are the things as a customer that you should look at, like how can I get started with all these configurations in place so that I don't run into any kind of external threats or attacks, right? I think that is where we should look at it.
Yes, I think we should have documentation for configuring email in general, right? Microsoft 365 should be one of those, both for inbound, outbound. I'm not sure whether you have referred to the documentation. If that's not helpful, do let us know. If there are any specific steps that you kind of getting stuck on, we're happy to help.
Okay. I don't think I saw the specific Outlook 365, but I will double check. Like I said, some of the early stages.
The documentation could be in general, might not be very specific to Outlook 365 because it's the documentation will be from the BMC user interface perspective on how would you configure certain items, right? So again,
Okay.
it could be agnostic of what email server you're using.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Luigi, we'll have a look. I'll have Laura check to see if there's anything a bit more specific and we'll share it in the Q&A blog post event. We'll see what we can find for you as well. Okay, thank you for your question. Does anybody else have any questions? Okay, why we wait to see if there's any more questions. I will go over to Kapil actually. Kapil, I know that we're going to be putting some webinars together more towards the end of July, early August. There's quite a lot coming up with business workflows and features. Do you want to just talk about a little roadmap of what's happening and what you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're always working on improving what we offer as part of business workflows. There's a particular area we are investing heavily on, which is artificial intelligence. So BMC has introduced Helix GPT. Some of the Helix GPT features are already available as part of digital workplace. They will be soon available as part of business workflows. Again, for business workflows, we're going to be focusing two personas. One is the agent and another is the end user from a Helix GPT perspective. For the agents, we are going to be introducing Helix GPT interface on the case. where it will become like a personal assistant on the case and help agents working on the case. Conversational search is the first use case we are targeting, where you can converse with your knowledge base to start with, and then the scope will be added to converse with not just knowledge base. When I say knowledge base, it's the knowledge base comes with Helix, which could be business workflows, knowledge management, or RKM in case of ITSM. But it will also be then later extended to your internal knowledge sources, which could be SharePoint, which could be Confluence, and then you should be able to converse. When I say converse, well, ask queries for which the answer lies in documents, in knowledge articles, or in SharePoint documents, or in Confluence, right? So those are some use cases that we are targeting using Helix GPT from a case agent perspective. Then we also later want to extend on what you can converse with, can you also make queries on your Helix data, pull some information out of data that resides in the Helix database. Things which are normally available in Helix dashboard, can they be easily be made available through a conversation with Helix GPT? So that's another use case that we are targeting. The next persona is the end user persona. Anyways, on the Helix digital workplace, you anyways can have a look at how it is making life of the end user a lot easier. But for business workflows, we are targeting those kind of customers who generally, let's say you want to create a case via email. The normal workflow will be create a case via email, a case gonna get created, and the agent will, attend to your case. But we're looking at if the kind of query that you have for which you're creating a case, if there is certain knowledge article available, why not have a response come directly? Like somebody's asking for what is the maternity leave policy for your particular company in a particular country. You get a response with that particular maternity leave policy, and maybe with an added link on applying for it. So this is how we want to kind of improve the user experience with the end users who are coming through the email channel for creating cases. Yeah, those are some one of the few use cases that we are targeting as part of the roadmap.
Thank you, Kapil. Is there anyone on here that would interest? Just keen to get a bit of a vote and see what people are working on. Hi, Laura. I can see you've raised your hand. Feel free to come off mute.
No, I was just saying that that's something, yeah, that would
Okay.
interest us. Yeah.
Great. Do you have any other things that would be of interest while we've got Kapil on here? Although there's never any promises, what we do like is hearing customers' feedback to see what we can put into the product in the future. So do you have any other use cases?
No, we're actually just getting started with business workflows. I do have a couple of general questions that we can circle back to if, in time here. But yeah, we're just really getting started with business workflows, building cases through DWP, having tasks that are associated with those cases. But what you're talking about, and we haven't even looked at the building the email, the mailbox yet. That's something that we'll probably look into also. But everything that you're talking about, I think that's something that would interest us.
Great. If you do obviously have any troubles or anything, there is support that you can use to help you with some of these builds as well. Laura is one of many that work in our support department. And also if you're getting any problems with documentation or you need to find anything, I'm more than happy for you to reach out. I know it's quite a lot to navigate through our site sometimes.
Yeah. Actually, Laura, I just watched your video yesterday, the webinar that you did on the approvals yesterday. Very good webinar. Helped me a lot. So thank you.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
It's what we want to hear. And actually, I would say on that note, if there's anything that you don't see, and this is to everyone on the call today, for videos and that, I work very closely with support. They have problem management on a regular basis. They look at content they're going to create, but we don't always want to wait for you guys to have cases first. So if there's anything that would be quite useful, normally it's around 2 to 5 minutes. We don't want to go over the 5-minute threshold, because what you find is people can't take and consume it all in, but we can certainly create more videos, and I can find different people within BMC to create content. If it tends to be a little bit longer, then we end up running webinars because it's a lot to go through, and often we want to do demos. So have a think about that when you go away today. If there's anything that you feel is not on YouTube or you can't find in knowledge articles or just in general, we have a survey. If you want to fill it in, let me know, and I'll work with the wider team. But Laura, it's great to hear that you've managed to see something and watch it, and it's been helpful for you. And the great thing about videos is you can play them again. So.
Yes, exactly. Yes, I played it a couple times, but yeah, paused it and then I would work on it some and then go back to it. Yeah, but it was a great video. So thank you, especially on the training part for emails, for approvals rather. So thank you.
Fantastic. So going over to your other questions, actually, while you're off of mute, and if anyone else has any questions after, or they want to talk about some of the features, if you just raise your hand. What were your general questions, Laura?
So yeah, we're doing a lot with creating cases, and then a lot of our cases have several tasks that are associated to them. One of the things that we noticed is unlike the other modules, if you have a task and let's say it's rejected or it gets canceled, the subsequent tasks are not canceled. They stay in a stage status, and then also the case stays in the status that it was currently in. Are there any plans in like making maybe some kind of option? I know that you may not always want them to auto close, but is there any plans to make some kind of option where you could set it so that the subsequent task would close down if a previous task was canceled or rejected?
Well,
did that make sense?
So Laura, I mean, the scenarios could be that when you create a case and have subsequent tasks associated with that, each of these tasks could be different from each other, right? They can be individual tasks serving a different purpose and not linked to each other, right? So in that case, it's possible that you cancel one, but you want to go ahead with others. But Ashok, if these are in sequence, is there a way we can actually have a domino effect for cancellation?
Currently using the task flow process, right? I think you can still achieve all these things using when you're designing a task flow. You can go post task, right? Let's say task 1, and you can put some conditional statement, right? Like if the status is cancelled, then you can simply go ahead and cancel all the tasks and then just put an end process, right? So that is still possible, and I feel like Kapil is correct, right? In the sense, there could be various scenarios, right? One scenario is like, okay, I'm working on a task, I cancel it, and then I want all the tasks to be cancelled. That is perfectly fine. But then there are other scenarios where the tasks were created, but maybe it is not applicable for me, and I'm canceling it, but the other tasks are still valid. So automatically doing something, I think we'll have to really think about it. But yeah, through taskful process, it is still currently achievable if you are trying to design it that way.
Well, Laura, do you have a use case you can share with us which requires subsequent tasks to be cancelled if the first one or anything is...
Yeah. So we're building like a hiring process, right? And so what happens is somebody will submit their hiring request, and this is just to get approval for hiring a position, and it may go to several different levels. So it may go to the hiring manager, then the hiring director, and then all the way up to the CIO. If somebody previous to that, and there's different tasks, there's different fields that they have to fill in on the task, depending on what they have, what their role is. But if somebody previously cancels their tasks, then we want the subsequent task to be canceled.
Okay. Is it because the data that is required for the subsequent task is coming from this task?
Yeah, we do have those cases too, where data from one task will flow through to another task.
Okay. Well, in this scenario, would it be fair to assume that since you are anyways planning to cancel all the tasks, the case itself is not required anymore? Because your plan is to cancel all the tasks. So would just canceling the case suffice?
Right, but somebody would have to go in there and physically cancel that case, right?
Okay, so you're saying that the case is not assigned to anyone. People are just working on the tasks?
Well, it could be, but my thing is, if the task is canceled, it's similar to the other modules and ITSM, and I know this is totally different, but if there's a task that gets canceled, it would then cancel the subsequent task and then also cancel the task. I'm sorry, the case.
Okay. We probably need to look at how it can be, there should be a way it can be triggered, because most of the use cases that we get, especially for onboarding, the tasks are individual, right? Like there could be one task assigned to the finance team, another task assigned to IT, another to procurement, so on and so forth. And each one could be running independently of each other. But and that's why, like, somebody would just cancel the procurement task because they would ordered something it's not required. Still, the IT and finance could go ahead. But in your case, we need to check on if I mean, I'm sure, as Ashok mentioned, you could use process to configure this, right? That option, you explore that option. If you can write a process and then set rules.
Yeah, that's the road that we were going to go down. I just didn't know if there may be any kind of future plans. I saw that there was an idea out there for it. And I just didn't know how much traction it had gotten and whether it might have been something planned for a future release.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can, Laura, you can create an idea. Let's see like how other customers are feeling the need, right? In order to think about it, right, from our product perspective. So you can definitely create an idea and let's see what all different opinions we are getting there. Because we
added on to there's an idea already out there, and I added on to it a few days ago, and I had some of my teammates vote for it also. So I guess we'll see if other folks take traction to it.
Laura, if you share that, I'll share it with the customers and the team on here, so we can obviously also review it as well. That would be useful.
Okay, great. I'll look for that.
Thank you.
And I have one other, hopefully quick question. When it comes to tasks in business workflows, do the approvals for tasks show in DWP? We're able to see, and maybe it's just something specific with our case. We have kind of a hybrid environment, so it may be something going on with that. But we're able to see our cases fine, but we're not able to see our case approvals. We're able to see fine. Are you able to see task approvals in DWP approval?
I think task approvals in DWP needs to still be supported as a backlog item. I can verify that.
Okay.
Cases are supported.
Yeah, like I said, the case approvals we're able to see in DWP, but it's the task ones that we're not able to.
Yes, that needs to be supported by DWP. It's a backlog item for them.
Okay. That's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. Thanks for your questions. Okay, is there anybody else that have any questions? Don't be shy. While everyone's just having a think, Ashok, I'm going to pick on you a little bit, actually. I know that there's quite a few different features that you work on. Maybe would be good just to go through some of your experience, if you want to sort of share some of the features, items around custom piece, best practices, dynamic data. I know we were talking before the start of this call.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing which I would try to cover, and let's see, I would want good participation is like, because most of the customer feels the need for customization, right? I think we have seen in most of the cases there are needs where people are looking for customizing the things based on different LOB. So I will try to see like, okay, if you try to break down the customization requirement, it can go into 3 different buckets, right? I think we start with the fields part, like where we are saying, okay, I need some additional fields for my specific LOB. The second part which comes is about the views, right? When I'm trying to say, okay, I need whatever fields I have added, I want to see it in my views. And the third one bucket, I would categorize it like we see a lot of need when we need to write some workflows, right? So if I talk about each one of them, and if there are any questions, feel free to interrupt me so that I can take it up and can respond back. So if I get started with the field part, the best practices and recommendation would be like, okay, we get started with our dynamic data because those are very granular where you can add dynamic data at a template level, case template level. And all the questionnaires that you see in DWP that gets automatically added as dynamic fields in the case template. But you also have an option to go ahead in business workflow as a business analyst that you can add additional fields there, and you can also add it into the task. There are some recent enhancement we did recently was like you can make a field as task only fields, which means they don't automatically show up in cases. And then there are some regex improvement and things that we did recently with dynamic data. The other thing which we are hearing from some of our customers are like, okay, I want to add a field which is very common, which is very generic, and which can span across multiple line of business. Then our recommendation would be like, okay, you go and add a field in the case itself. And you should also decide like, okay, is my field going to be used in some assignment, right? Because now we also have qualification-based assignment and things there, or approvals. So if you're really feeling that, okay, this field can drive my assignment, this field can drive my approval flows and things, you can add a field in the case directly and use it. So that is another way to add a field into a ticket or a case. Any questions on the field part? We also have LOB specific extensions where you are saying that, okay, if a field is meant, right, only for that particular LOB, then you can also create an extension RD within an LOB and you can add a field there. So which means that data is segregated for that particular line of business only. So we did generally have 3 different methods to add a field for customization. Number one, we are talking about adding a dynamic field, which is nothing but a questionnaire coming from Digital Workplace directly. The second one, we are talking about adding a field to a case, and that is very powerful if you're adding a field to the case, because if you want to use it in approval, assignment, SLM qualifications, you would be able to do that also. And the third one, which are very LOB specific, which are like LOB extensions. So these are the 3 different options we have, and you can use that. If you come to the views, right, like how do I customize my views? I don't know if you want, I can just share my screen also. Samantha, I can do that, right, Sam?
Yes, yeah, please do.
Okay, let me just do that.
Share.
Just let me know if you're able to see my screen.
It's just coming up now. Yep. Are you due to share the templates here?
Yeah, okay. So if you go to this line of business, right, as a business analyst, if I can go to a particular line of business, so I would select over here. So let's say if I'm selecting an HR. So if I go to an HR, I have this manage line of business. So I can go over there and then you can see all the configurations are present for that particular line of business. There is also an option called view configuration. So if you look at this one, normally we are supporting very limited customizations because we feel like most of the things are provided out of the box and customers would actually make little use of this views customizations because these become complex as more and more things are getting added, and every release we are trying to ship new views and it is difficult to reconcile and have the views being shown up. So if you want to do any kind of view configuration, basically it is a 3-step process that we say. For example, let's say if I want to customize my case console. So the first step that we need to follow is like, okay, go over here, make a copy of it. So we are saying, okay, make a copy of it. So when I'm saying make a copy of it, you can give your own name. For example, let's say I am giving a name called HR case console. So you make a copy of it. So that is the first step. So the way we start with any kind of view configuration is you go and make a copy of the particular view. Now, once this view is copied successfully, you can see this is HR case console. Now, what I will do is I will go and edit it. So once you go and edit it, it actually opens up in your Okay, just I think it is giving me error over here on my environment somehow. But ideally, that should actually take you to the LOB bundle. Let me just see there.
You are in base mode, Ashok.
Okay, let me see if I'm what. Okay, I'm in best. Sorry, I think I was in the base mode. That's why I got this error. So ideally, I should be in the customization mode. So if you see here, this HR case console. Now, if I want to make some changes, right? So I should go over there. And there could be multiple things that you can do over here. So one of the things that mostly needed is like, okay, I would want to go ahead and add some my additional custom fields, or for that matter, if it is showing me display ID, I don't like this case ID, maybe I just want to rename it something, or you can add some fields from here, right? That is what the normal use cases are. For example, I also want to have this external requested email ID being shown up as part of the customization, and I can say external requested email ID. And I want this field to be visible by default. I can make it sortable, filterable, searchable, and I can save it. So let's say I added this new field into my grid here, and I save it. So the view is now successfully saved. Okay. Let me just do something. I think I'm not able to go back to the settings here. So if I go back to this, so the first step I did was copy. The second step was I was able to modify it. Now, if you want to look at a preview, you can see I can go and have a preview of it, which is the third step. Let me refresh it. So you can go and do a preview here. Yeah, so this is a preview that you're seeing, and you can see this external requester, this column is now visible over here. And the last step that you have to do is like, okay, you go ahead and again make it as, if you go and try to activate it. So now if I go ahead and activate, so step one is copy, second is edit, and then you make it active. So once you mark it as activated, what it means is that this view is now configured, and it will be at runtime whenever user will be from HR LOB, this is a human resource LOB. If they are going over there, then this is the view that they would be always seeing it. Any questions on the views part, like how to do this 3-step process? Okay.
Is this useful for everyone? Is there anything else that you would want to share? We have no questions at the moment, Ashok, so if you want to carry on.
Yeah. So the third step, there's a third part which I was talking about, the customization, which normally we see is the process, right? Like how can I do a backend process related customization? So for that process, I think we have a very feature called flow sets. If you look at the flow set feature, so we have this flow sets. So I can go ahead and define a flow set for my, let's say, HR. So here you can see I have this one for a human resource. And if you can see here, if I want to do a new process mapping, so these are the different functions that we have, right? Like if you want to do a customization, this is what is recommended. Like we have different functions available. Like, okay, if you are having some customization requirement related to status transition, where you want to add something when a status gets changed, like whenever it is resolved, I want to do something additional, or when the status is marked as closed, I want to do something. So you can make use of this function. On the same line, if you have got a different assignment requirement, right? Like out of the box, whatever assignment rules are triggering, maybe that is not satisfying your requirement and you want to do something on top of it, or you want to do an exclusive condition there, like forget the out of the box rules. I have a different method of assigning my ticket. So you can write a process for assignment function. On the same line, you have for approval, the permission part, like, okay, today, if you look at business workflow, whenever a ticket is getting created by default permission model, if you look at it, the assigned support groups, if you have defined anything additional as part of your templates, or if you have got some read access mapping defined. So these are the 3 things which gets automatically added as part of your permission model. But if there is something additional need, right? If the ticket is this and this, then maybe you assign it to a particular, you want to give access to some additional support groups, or you want to extend your permission model to some additional individuals, you can make use of the permission data access permission function over here. On the same line, we have something for notifications, validations, initialization, and user activity feed. So user activity feed is like, okay, I want to trigger something whenever an activity note is being added and I want to trigger something. So you can make use of any one of the functions. So once you select a function, the next step that we need to know is like, okay, it will ask you to, okay, select the process that you want to run. So you must have a process created over here. And I will tell you, right, like for whenever you are trying to create a process, it is always recommended that you go ahead and make a copy of the sample process that is being shipped for that particular function, right? So if you go to Innovation Studio, right, if I go and just close this record designer, and if I go to processes under case management and search for samples. So you can look at here, right, all the sample processes are there. So if you want to customize any of your process, like for status transition, go and make a copy of this one, right? So you can copy, make sure that, okay, you are selecting the LOB bundle, so that these are all the best practices, so that we are not messing up the custom code along with the out-of-the-box code. So the target library that you can select is the line of business. So all the line of business would be listed over here. You can select the target line of business, and then you simply define your name and copy it. So this is how actually you can, so once you have the process created, you come back on this screen, you have an option to say, okay, I want to make it exclusive or additive. Exclusive means, okay, your out-of-the-box process will not run, and the custom process that you have defined over here, that will take precedence. Or if you're making it additive, which means is the out-of-the-box process will run along with your custom process. So this is how you can actually go with the customization thing: field, views, and then lastly the process, which is the backend workflow. Any question?
We have more of a general question, but I don't know, was there anything else that you wanted to share, Ashok, before we go to that question? And also, I'll open up to the audience. Do you have any questions around what Ashok's just shown you, or anything you would like him to share?
I hope it is making sense for people who are trying to use business workflow for the first time.
Yeah, we will be, this session's being recorded, so you will be able to play this back in the recording when we finalized it. Okay,
I will
thank
stop
you.
sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So the question that we had, more of a generic one, once we get upgraded and have business workflows as BA, is it advised to go through training to be able to use business workflows, or is it easy for me to use business workflows based on my experience with DWP? So that's more of a generic question. I guess I'll ask the panel, because you work with business workflows every day. I mean, we'll always recommend you take some sort of form of education, and I will certainly be sharing it. I map all these webinars and sessions to recommended training, but I guess more of a generic question for those on here. What's your view, the similarities with DWP? I don't know who wants to answer that question from my team.
Well, I can take that. So when you go as a BA in business workflows, so there are certain things which are different between business workflows and DWP. Business workflows is more of a fulfillment tool. DWP is focused more on end users. But having said that, the way business workflows has been designed, right? The basic use cases, which is setting up case management for your team, right? The user interface for that is very intuitive. Even with zero training, if you start exploring the tool, things are quite easy to understand, and the basic functionality you can set up on your own, right? There is no programming skills or much configuration required to set up basic case management use cases. But if you want to go a step further and introduce more complexity, say, for example, if you want to introduce tasks, introduce automation using tasks, or introduce some customizations Ashok was talking about, then even for that, we have a very low code, no code approach, So if you spend some time understanding how the tool works, you can self-educate, but a training would also help in that case. It would kind of improve your learning curve, right? So depending on what kind of use cases that if you really want to go into some advanced use cases, training will make your life easier, but you can always spend some time. The way the tool has been defined, even if you just try to explore on your own, you can educate yourself and learn new things with the tool. But again, as I said, both ways, if you get some training, it will just speeden up that process and you can start getting value out of the tool faster.
Thank you. Great answer, Kapil, and thank you for the question. I think if there is whoever asked that question, because it was anonymous, specific use cases, then I can certainly work with the education department to see if there is specific education that we'd recommend that you work with. But in general, when I map these webinars, it's based on the content that we're going to be covering. So yeah, we'll have a look into that. Thank you for your question.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
sorry, Sam, there
Yeah,
was
go for
one
it.
question about service target, and I
You
think it's
answered.
Roger who asked that. So I just want to quickly share my screen and show them how this is going to look. Is my screen visible?
Yes, we can see it. Yep.
Perfect. All right. So if Sergio, you're there. So once you configure service targets and you can configure service targets, you need a business analyst access over there. So this is under service level management. You can configure service targets. So as you see, there are some existing service targets. There will be two types of service targets: resolution and response. Basically, it means that you need to respond in the predefined time and you want to resolve the case in the predefined time as per the service target which has been defined. And you can configure service target for case and task separately. I'm just going to open a resolution one to show you how it's going to look, how it is configured. So so there are these parameters like title, data source. In this case, it's case management. So going to apply on a case. It's for this particular line of business, right? Now, the goal type is resolution and not response. Now you can configure on which conditions you want to trigger this service level target. So here it has been given company. So which means any case where company is Apex Global, this service target is going to apply, right? Once you have configured a service target, you give a goal. The goal is 3 days, which means you need to resolve this case in 3 days. You have 3 days to configure that case. Now, if you have defined business entities, then you can basically define what's your definition of a day, right? You could have a day which comprises of 8 hours, starts from 9 to 5. So all that comes as part of your business entity definition, which is optional in case you want to get into that. Yeah. Sorry. Now, once you have done that, there's a measurement part. Now, under measurements, you can set up conditions. When you want to start the SLA, you can give the condition. Basically, here it says that the status is new, it's going to start. When it is status is resolved, the SLA is going to stop. And when the case goes in pending, it is going to pause. And then you can set milestones. The milestones are basically indicators to tell you where you have reached in terms of the SLA. So this is generally how SLAs will be triggered. And let's, with respect to your particular question, once you have SLAs defined, this bar will appear on every case where a SLA, the condition that we had defined in the SLA, it matches the case, then this bar will appear. So as you see, the name of this company is Apex Global. That's why the condition was met and it's going to appear over here. And in this case, if you hover over here, it says status in progress due on Thursday. So it is going to tell you when this case is due. So how much time you have in hand to complete this case, right? If you had different defined milestones, it will also put some indicators over here that, okay, you have achieved 25%, 30%, etc. So this is how you can define service targets, and this bar will then tell you how much time is left for you to complete the case. I hope this helps.
Thank you for showing that. I know Sergio did mention that his English not so good, so I think it's better to often show demos. So thanks for that. So we've got about 10 minutes or so left. I don't know if anybody else has any other questions. We don't have anything in the Q&A. So while we're just waiting on that, I don't know if Tejwini or Harshada, you wanted to share anything about some of the features that you're aware of. I'll open it up to either of you who wants to maybe just sort of share.
Yeah, maybe I'll quickly cover one topic.
Thank you.
As we know, task flow is a very powerful feature where you can define how your case is going to be processing and what all things will be achieved. But most of the tasks, I mean, at least so far, before to-do tasks were introduced, they were like agent-facing tasks. So whatever tasks you add in the task flow, agent will be working on those and they will be taking some action in order to make that case move ahead. But there were typical use cases what we got mainly from HR perspective. Let's say if I take an example, like onboarding use case. So if the case is for onboarding a new employee, so there might be few tasks like where I want to get some information from the end user. So it is not actually actionable by agent. I want to get some educational documents or personal details of the end user, and I want to create a task for it. So with the normal task, it was not possible. So we have recently introduced a new task type. We call it as to-do. So these are mainly end user facing tasks where you can assign those tasks to the end user, and end users can actually see them in the DWP and even answer those. If there are any questions, they can answer those. Maybe I'll just quickly share so that it might be easy to correlate what I'm saying. I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you see.
Yes, it's there.
Okay, so this is just a sample case that I have created for employee onboarding, and this is like I want to get some personal details for the new joiner. So here, if you see, Nancy Adam is the end user who is supposed to actually work on the task and provide the details. So the screen which I was showing was BWF, but if I go to DWP and under my activity, so Nancy Adam can actually see this task, this new joiner personal details. And we are also supporting the questionnaires. So you can add questions to the task, and so like personal details, the end user can just fill in and submit those. So once user submits from here, they will be like available in the BWF screen, and case agent or anybody who is working on that case, they can see the data that has been submitted by the end user. And the questionnaire can be defined from DWP. So far in BWF, if you want to define any questions, it was like limited thing or whatever data we support from BWF, only those things you can add. But for to-do tasks, the questionnaire support or questionnaire designing part, so it has been through DWPC. So all the powerful features of DWPC that are available now for whenever you define a questionnaire for the to-do type of task. So BA can create the questionnaire for the end user, and end user can actually submit the responses for the to-do task. So this is very powerful feature, and it can be used where you want to have some end user facing interactions through tasks. So if there are any questions, or we can just take.
We don't have any questions at the moment. Does anyone have any questions on what we've just shared? No, I don't think we have any. Again, you'll be able to watch this back. So if you do have any questions post-event, then do feel free to fill in the survey or post onto the community. We can pick those up from there.
Sorry, Sam.
Yes, sorry, go on.
There's a response from Sergio. I just want to reply back.
Yes.
So,
do you want to go back to that? Yeah.
Yeah. So let me share my screen again. So I think what you are asking for, Sergio, is on the console, if we can show the due date, right? So that is not supported today. What is supported today is the SLM status, which says whether it's breached or it's within limit. This information comes up. The due date per se is not supposed. So Ashok, is there any way through customization if the due date can be added over here? As of now, out of the box, we only support the SLM status, but they want to see when is this due. And I mean, before I just hand over to Ashok, you can have more than one service target associated with a case, Sergio. So there could be multiple SLAs, not just one. So even that needs to be taken into consideration. But Ashok, is there anything that can be done to support that?
Yeah, I think you're right, Kapil, right? There could be more than one or service targets, right? So putting that value in one field, I think that looks a bit difficult. But if you are really sure that, okay, you'll be having one resolution, or because there could be different type of SLAs that can be associated to a case, right?
Yes, exactly.
So one of the field, I think there is a target date field, and it is up to you, like how you are trying to populate the target date field. So if you're able to do it, I think then yes, you can actually make that field visible if you're populating that value, the due date value.
So this target date field is there, but it's not the SLA per se. You can just add a target date, which is more of an indicator for the agent on by when this needs to be completed, and then you can work on this target date, but it won't be a SLA. So for the SLA, you need to visit the case itself. And the reason we say it's not appearing in the console is that if you have 3 SLAs associated with the service target, the first SLA could finish in 1 day, the second 1.5 day, and the third in 2 days. So that date will keep on changing depending on which SLA is expired. So it might not give the right information to the agent.
Sorry, Kapil, just to jump in here. So if you go to the case, I think what Sergio was referring to was the next due date, which again is calculated based on the next service target. So if you just open up a case there.
Yep.
You can see in the right-hand corner, there's the due in, 1 day, 1 hour, that text. So I think Sergio was referring to that. But yeah, that's calculated based on the next service target that's approaching. But I don't think we'll be able out of the box, because there could be multiple, like Ashok said, multiple service targets that we're not able to pull that due in, the next target date into the console. So
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, but if you want really a customization approach, then yes, you can write a rule on SLM measurement whenever things are getting created, and then you can push the data to the target date field or any custom field if you want, right? I think that is still a possibility, but then you'll have to write the rule and process accordingly based on your need.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Before we wrap, I don't know, Harshada, if there was anything that you wanted to share before we close. Was there anything you wanted to share with the rest of the customers?
Yeah, I would like to just quickly show the glimpse of one of the cool feature which we have in BWF. So yeah, let me share.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would like to talk about the checklist. So checklist is a lightweight, as name itself suggests, it is checklist support. So checklist template can be defined per LOB, and that will help you to define as a case BA. There is an option given to define the checklist template. The checklist can be attached to the task or case, is up to the how the use case needs to be defined. So let's take an example of, if you would like to define, there are some checklist for your offboarding employee. There is a voluntary separation and there are certain points where the agent will take care of the predefined steps. So this is the definition of those predefined items which they would like to check by case agent while working on that scenario. So As you can see, the status part is given configurable, whether you would like to show the status along with the checklist item or you would like to turn it off. Also, there is a capability of renaming them. So all this is being taken care while working, which will help any agent to work with the checklist. So let me show you how this checklist is right now being shown on our task record. So I have already created a case, which is a voluntary separation case. And that has this offboarding checklist for HR agent. So for that, here that task, now the checklist is included. The checklist can be included in the template itself, or at the once the task or a case got created, the addition of checklist is very much possible for the agent. So as you can see, the edit checklist option is available. The way we have seen on the configuration side, those statuses are available per checklist item. So let's say I take a decision here. This is done. I can add a done. Then I have communicate the employee exit into. So all this now that these two tasks are done, agent thought of doing this. So once it is saved, you will see here there are the indicators that shows that okay, this is done, and this has a comment. You can expand and you will see the comment here as well. Let me show you for the demo purpose. Suppose I have checked this and said not yet done. There are few things which are pending. Okay, and I saved it. So indicator changes and will show you it is checked, but it is not done. That means you have gone through that point or gone through the checklist item, but the status of it is not yet done, and there is always a comment available. So likewise, so as you can see, these are the 3 items we have just checked, but these are the open items, the action yet to be taken on this. The same checklist behavior is available on case as well, and per task this can be added. So this is the checklist behavior available within BWFA. So as per the use cases, the checklist can be defined per LOB and consumed on case and task. Please let us know if you have any questions.
Thank you for sharing that, Harshada. I will just do a final request. Does anyone have any final questions? If you don't, obviously, thank you for attending today's session. Thank you for the questions that have come in interactively into the Q&A. We will.
Thank you.
Thank you.